This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5 on this Monday, a stormy night leads to a busy night for firefighters. How the severe weather led to fire calls all across central Indiana.
And 2 years after her tragic death, the work of a young Hoosier continues. How her family continues to work every day to keep her legacy alive.
How about this? Finish college sooner, get a job faster. Today in Hiring Hoosiers, a program that's giving students a quicker route from the classroom to the career. Good morning on this Monday morning. I'm Rafael Sanchez in for Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen joining us with some good news. We won't have a repeat of last night's weather today.
Yeah, you know, those storms were all over the place last night. It was a solid line. You mentioned the lightning strikes. There was a lot of lightning in there. I know a lot of people disappointed with the Luke Bryan concert getting canceled last night, but obviously you could not be out there in all that severe weather. So it has calmed down a lot here across the area. That is the good news. A live look outside right now, and we're dealing with skies that are in the process of clearing out. We are in the 60s and 70s this morning. 70 on the nose in Indy, 69 in Bloomington as well as Muncie. And there's a lot of humidity there, and unfortunately, the humidity is actually going to come up throughout the day today, so it's going to get more and more uncomfortable, and that's your weather headline for the day today, the heat and humidity. Storm Team 6 radar is quiet. The last remaining showers dissipated near the Greensburg area this morning, and you will have partly cloudy skies for your commute into work and as the kids head off to school. No weather-related issues as that front goes off towards the east. So throughout the day today, it's really about the heat and humidity for most of the day, and then just look for the chance of a few isolated downpours that'll build in throughout the afternoon during the peak heating of the day, with heat index values this afternoon that could approach nearly 100 degrees. The time now is 5:01. Let's get another look at the roadways.
Todd, thank you. We are taking a live look right now at I-69 at State Road 37. Just a few cars out there at 5 o'clock this morning. Obviously, traffic will pick up in that area as the morning continues, but right now, things moving along just fine.
And now we continue with breaking news happening overnight. A police chase that began in Carmel ends in Indianapolis with the arrest of two men. Around 1:30 this morning, neighbors reported a Ford Excursion driving near 106th and Westfield in Carmel without its headlights on. Officers spotted that vehicle, and that vehicle just took off. The chase continued into Indianapolis. Then around 29th and Annette, the vehicle crashed into a home, this home, and then into a nearby fence and parking lot. The owner of the home, we're told, is okay.
Wow. What the heck happened?
I don't know. All I know is I heard this big old kaboom. I'm in the kitchen getting something to drink. I look out the window and I see all the police cars. And a couple of kids look like and ran into the house.
And that kaboom was not from the thunder from overnight. After the crash, police say 3 men ran from that SUV. 2 were captured with the help of a canine unit, but a third got away and is still at large this morning.
New this morning, one person is dead after a shooting on the far southeast side of Indianapolis. Police were called just after 9:30 last night to a home on Straw Hat Drive that's near Emerson Avenue and Shelbyville Road. Officers were told that 2 men forced their way into the home. There was then a struggle with weapons, and both of the people who had broken into the house were shot. One of the men died at the scene. The other is now in critical condition at Eskenazi. Police described the shooting as a domestic situation. Taking a turn now, continuing the mission of a young woman who loved to give back. It has been almost 2 years, hard to believe, since 20-year-old Cathedral High School graduate Cassie Braun died after she fell while she was traveling for a semester at Sea Voyage.
And so on Sunday, family and friends of Braun, they came together to raise money in order to reach big goals, as our Nicole Griffin tells us, to also continue her legacy.
Daniel's Vineyard in McCordsville is a place Cassie Braun loved to spend time.
Cassie had this wonderful idea of starting Sip, Bark, Repeat. And not only did she have the idea, she made the difference on acting on the idea.
She was the Vineyard's first intern in the summer of 2017. That summer, before she passed away, they held the first Sip, Bark, Repeat event. Stephanie Pavlonis is the daughter of the Vineyard's owners.
There's a lot of personalities here, and she just smiled and laughed with us and helped us figure out how to make this place better. She had big ideas and big dreams. She was just all about empowering people.
Sip, Bark, Repeat is an event that she created as part of the Pour It Forward weekend, helping the Humane Society of Hamilton County with donations and adoptions. But since Cassie passed away, the event now benefits the Cassie Cares Foundation.
We were just doing what Cassie did, and we're creating an organization that's empowering people. It's empowering through education, and it's still taking care of her original recipients, which were our four-legged friends.
Money raised through the event will still go to help animal rescue organizations, but it will also provide grants for students in need of tuition at her former school, Cathedral High School. And a huge goal, it will help build schools in Nigeria.
We can't just talk about her legacy. We need to be her hands and feet on earth.
Last year, they raised $70,000 at the event. It's a way to continue sharing her spirit, her love for people, animals, and her love for giving.
In 20 years, shy of 21 years, Cassie did more to spread joy and love and light and goodness than some of us do in an entire lifetime.
Nicole Griffith reporting. Overall, the group has a goal to raise $3.5 million to fully fund the school scholarships they want to provide as well to complete the Cassie Braun Memorial Schools in Nigeria. You can find out more at CassieCares.org. You know, college can be expensive and could involve thousands of dollars in loans. But what if there was a way to get a bachelor's degree in half the time? Please sign me up.
Yeah. Through Hiring Hoosiers, we are connecting you to jobs and opportunities in our area. And our Aaron Lish is live this morning showing us how Martin University is getting students classroom to career ready faster than ever. Aaron, you're going to tell us all about their Fast Track program.
Absolutely. Saving time and saving money while getting your bachelor's degree. What way is better than that? They are doing that here through the PLA program, which is Prior Learning Assessment Program. And the premise of this all is to take all of those work experience and knowledge that you have and put it into earning college credit. So you pick the courses you think match what you've known you've had, and then over that semester you create a portfolio, written presentations, narrative, evidence to support your knowledge and background in that subject area. You can earn up to 60 college credits. And for one student you've been seeing in this video, Timothy Taylor, he has saved him time and so far about $24,000.
And I found out about the PLA program and got into it, and it's just been a terrific program for me. It just worked great with my schedule, and I'm so glad that I got into the program and was able to acquire the credits that I did.
You will have to meet with the PLA director, figure out your degree plan, and get written authorization from your mentor to take the courses for those PLA credits. And this is a hybrid course. I was talking to the PLA director. She says that you will be going to lectures on campus, but for the most part, you will be focusing more off campus and writing all those different pieces to create that portfolio to have those potential credits. We're actually going to hear from her in the next half hour, but for now, back to you in the studio.
Aaron, we look forward to that. The time now is 5:08 on this Monday morning. And last night, you heard it, severe weather hit the area, and firefighters, they were busy responding to several calls of homes struck by lightning. That includes this one at 126 and Hazeldale. They arrived and saw flames coming from the roof, but everyone luckily made it out safely. Firefighters say timing is everything when it comes to reporting a lightning strike in your neighborhood.
We always tell people that if you think your house or your neighbor's house has been hit by lightning, go ahead and call 911, because a lot of times those can smolder in attics for hours, and the storm's long gone and a fire will start, after that.
That is great advice, and glad that everyone was okay after that fire. And Todd, loud overnight hours, but much calmer more humid heat. I mean, right?
Yeah,
better?
Yeah, you know, it's still very muggy out there, but the storms have since moved out, so it's a calmer morning for us. But some additional storms are possible later on this afternoon, but that's an example right there. While even some storms, while they're not severe, lightning, we always tell you, makes every storm dangerous, and that's why you need to be inside during all thunderstorms. So this morning, temperatures are in the 70s. It's muggy. Skies are partly to mostly cloudy right now across the area, but we're in the process of clearing the skies out. The last remaining showers, they have moved off towards the east, and we'll have a lot of hazy sunshine here throughout the day today. And with that hazy sunshine, we're looking at high temperatures that'll be in the upper 80s to the north to low 90s from Indianapolis southward. But when you factor in that humidity, which by the way is actually going to come up throughout the course of the day, unfortunately, these temperatures you see here are going to feel more like 100 degrees at times this afternoon. We'll talk about that and some storm chances heading our way throughout this week as well, coming up in Maine weather.
Todd, thank you. Police put a stop to threats thanks to help from the public. Next, how officers say tragedy was likely averted in 2 states.
It gave us some of the most eloquent moments in sports. Today, we say goodbye to a man who's commanded the language, brought style and class to the fields of play. But first, let's check your road conditions with Meredith.
And here is a live look right now at I-465 at Arlington Avenue. You can see traffic moving along just fine in that area. This is an area where there is a closure, however, so just make sure you're paying attention to that as you head out the door this morning. We'll be right back.
Weekdays at 9 on RTV6.
Welcome back. We are taking a live look right now at I-465 at I-70 on the east side. A little bit of traffic out here on your Monday morning. No issues to report on the roadways, but just a reminder, as always, lots of construction taking place on the interstate, so always be sure to be aware of that. This morning, 2 men are in custody in 2 different states, and in both cases, police say they may have put a stop to potential mass shootings.
So let's head east of Indianapolis in Ohio. A man who claimed to be a white nationalist and an anti-Semite arrested for alleged threats to a Jewish community center. James Reardon Jr. is 20 years old. Investigators say he posted a threatening video on Instagram. The video was of Reardon shooting an assault-type weapon, and police say he posted a comment to the video that read, "Police identify shooter of Youngstown Jewish Family Center as local white nationalist."
Now in Florida, police arrested a 25-year-old man for a separate threat. Tristan Wicks was taken into custody after police were tipped off by his ex-girlfriend. Officers say Wicks had expressed interest in carrying out a shooting similar to the one that happened in Las Vegas almost 2 years ago. Back here at home, South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg is trying to win over voters in early primary states right now, but a new survey shows that he still has some work to do to win over his voters here in his home state. The survey from IndyPolitics.org and Mason Strategies shows almost 1/4 of Democrats in Marion County either haven't heard of Buttigieg or have no opinion of him. The poll also shows the mayor's uphill battle with African-American voters. 36% of them in Marion County have a favorable opinion of Buttigieg, but 46% either have no opinion or don't know who he is.
Nobody designed this golf course. Nobody with a pencil and $2 million and 5 bulldozers. This was made by nature. It comes out of the ground. It was done with wind and rain and sun and the help of a few sheep. And so while to most Americans and other people, it's not love at first sight at St. Andrews. St. Andrews' old course is like a dry martini, an acquired taste. And as such, it remains with you forever.
What a voice, what a band. A fixture in television sports for 6 decades. First at CBS, then right here at ABC. Jack Whitaker almost did not make it to his legendary TV career. He was wounded at Normandy 3 days after D-Day during World War II. But he began working in television in his hometown of Philadelphia in 1950 and never looked back. Whitaker called play-by-play for the very first Super Bowl, but he became best known for the essays he would give before and after sports competitions. We got word this morning that Whitaker passed away on Sunday. He was 95 years old. At 5:16, it is time to check on your forecast. We go from one class act to another this morning.
Oh, thank you, Raphael. It's going to be a decent day for us here across the area. We don't have widespread storms in our forecast like we did yesterday afternoon, but we do have some isolated storms that are going to build in later on this afternoon. But it's quiet for the morning drive. That's the good news. There's nothing going on out there right now, but it's overall a hot and humid day for us. Yesterday, we got up to 91 degrees. We should get back there today, but today the humidity is going to be a little bit higher across the area. So radar has really calmed down from where it was yesterday evening as Kyle was walking you through all those storms, and you notice the clouds breaking apart as well. The last showers kind of just fell apart there near the Greensburg area, and they continue to make their way off towards the east. So as we go throughout the course of the day today, we start you off with lots of hazy sunshine. We'll warm up really quickly, and then we'll start to build in the cumulus clouds and a few downpours later on this afternoon. Most of the area is doing okay as far as visibilities go, but you notice two pockets here. There are not where there's any readings coming from airports, but you can see the color contours here. So where the gray is, that's where we have some dense fog that has settled in. So the biggest impact would probably be on 74 as you work your way, say, between the Batesville area and over towards Cincinnati. Here in downtown, you notice the visibility is not bad at all. The clouds, again, they continue to break apart here throughout the overnight hours. 70 degrees, that is the current temperature. A light wind out of the south right now, but that southerly wind is what's going to keep the humidity coming up over the course of the next few days. In fact, it's going to continue to get higher as we go into tomorrow and then eventually into Wednesday as well. So 60s and 70s this morning across the area. We'll see high temperatures today. Eventually get up into the upper 80s to low 90s, depending exactly where you are. A little bit cooler to the north with just the chance of a spot storm here or there. And then as we work our way into the day tomorrow, it's more of the same. A lot of heat, a lot of humidity with temperatures that'll be in the upper 80s to low 90s once again across the area. So you have to prepare yourself for several days of heat and humidity here across the area. And with the heat and humidity will come the chance of all these pop-up storms during the peak heating of the day. And then a lot of times once the sun sets, they'll start to fade away. So that was TrueCast for you on Tuesday. So today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, isolated storm chances. Probably get a little bit of a break on Thursday from the storm threat, and then more isolated storms will build in towards the end of the week. The difference is, though, a lot of heat and humidity here to start the week. The week finishes off on a cooler note with high temperatures in the low 80s.
Todd, thank you so much with Todd's forecast. Don't forget to keep your AC on as you head out this morning. And look now at your Traffic Now traffic system. You can see that I-70 at West Street this morning at 519. All is looking good, but we know that this part of the city will build up as the hours go on. Meredith?
Pacers guard Victor Oladipo is back in Indiana this weekend and back on the court. He's helping the next generation of hoop stars work on their games. Oladipo hosted a basketball camp this weekend at Grand Park Fieldhouse in Westfield. More than 500 kids signed up, getting a chance to work on their fundamentals. Also playing some 4-on-4 games too. Oladipo also worked one-on-one with many of the groups. He talked to us about what it means for him to help develop these young players.
I think the biggest thing, though, is I remember what it was like being a kid. And I remember having role models and heroes, and imagining what it would be like and what kind of interaction I would want to have if I met them. And that's the kind of the reaction and action that I put towards them. Because at the end of the day, I know what it means to them.
Our Brad Brown got the chance to talk with Victor about his summer, the new look Pacers roster, and more. You can see that interview coming up tonight only on RTV6. And it is almost time to get on board the Red Line. Coming up at 5:30, how Indigo is getting its staff ready so that you will know what to do once the new bus line is open.
So she thought she had a serious problem. I mean serious, but it turns out her medical issue was a good one. Up next, a big and unexpected delivery for a South Dakota family. Picture perfect indeed at 5:21.
Drive at Honda of Fishers.
We want to say good morning to everyone on the west side of Indianapolis. And if you are heading out soon, this is a look at I-465 at US 40 Washington Street. You can see traffic moving along just fine as we start off our week. All right, we are not sure how you can make this mistake, but a woman from South Dakota had abdominal pain.
Yes.
She thought, maybe it's kidney stones, something like that. So she went to the hospital. Well, it was not kidney stones.
It was not. And Danielle Glitz was actually going into labor, and it wasn't any ordinary labor either. It's never ordinary anyway. So for the record, as a dude, I get it. Labor is never ordinary, whether it's 1 or 7, it's never ordinary. But Danielle ended up giving birth not to 1, not to 2, but to 3 babies. She had triplets and says she didn't even know she had been pregnant for the previous 34 weeks.
You don't ever see triplets being conceived naturally, let alone going 34 weeks without knowing. So everyone's like, can't believe it. I'm like, we're still in shock. Trust me, we know what you mean. Like, I go to the doctors thinking I'll have surgery for kidney stones, end up going into labor with C-section that night. I mean, it's crazy.
This is a talker, but the important thing, look at those babies. Picture perfect. They are beautiful. All 3 babies are healthy and should be headed home soon. Danielle and her husband, Austin, also say they're grateful to the community for donating a lot of emergency baby supplies. So that's picture perfect. Hey, it's A-okay. Kidney stones, doesn't matter.
And you know what?
Okay.
You know what she named one of the babies?
What?
Gypsy.
Really?
Yeah, so I would like to think maybe she was inspired by me and my dog's name.
That was not in the script. Where did you find that?
I read it this weekend.
She reads.
Yes.
You read.
Yeah. You ever hear the newspaper? All right, Todd, let's get a check at our forecast. We have a hot week ahead of us.
Yeah, it's all about the heat and humidity really for the next 3 days. A little more in the way of relief towards the end of the week as we get to Thursday and Friday with highs that'll be in the low 80s. But with the heat and humidity will come the chance of some isolated storms each and every day. This afternoon, they're very, very spotty, not expected to be severe. That's the good news. On Tuesday, a little better chance of maybe some more widespread storms and maybe a little bit stronger as well. But certainly the air condition will be going here the next couple days before that relief arrives Wednesday night into Thursday. The time now is 5:27. Stay with us. We'll be back here on Good Morning Indiana in just a few minutes.
Bachelor in Paradise tonight and tomorrow on ABC. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is Monday, and thank you for waking up with Good Morning Indiana. I am Rafael Sanchez in for Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Well, thankfully, we aren't waking up to this. Most places in central Indiana seeing some strong storms over the weekend.
Let's get right over to Todd to see if more storms are in store for us this work week. We could use the rain, Todd, but not the storms and the damage that follows. No one likes the damage.
Yeah, we need the rainfall. We got some over the course of the weekend, but yeah, unfortunately, some of those storms yesterday evening were strong to severe. The lightning, unfortunately, caused some house fires as well, but it's nice and calm here this morning. That is the good news. All those storms have moved out. So as you start your Monday morning off, we're in a lot better shape than we were yesterday evening. Temperature-wise, we are sitting in the 60s and 70s. So the skies are in the process of starting to clear out. A little bit of patchy fog is settling in to some areas. Be aware of that, but it's not widespread at this point. And again, the rain showers have all moved off towards the east, so your morning commute will be a dry one. Once we get to the afternoon hours, though, we are expecting some isolated storms to develop. There's just those pop-up storms during the peak heating of the day. They should not be widespread, but just know that they will be possible. 85 degrees by the noon hour, on our way up to a high this afternoon of 91.
Todd, thank you. Let's take a look right now at I-465 at US 31 Meridian Street. Traffic looks like it is moving along a little bit slower than usual in that area. No issues to report right now. We also want to take a look at I-465 at Man Road, where traffic is moving along a little bit quicker than the area we just saw. No issues to report at this moment. Breaking overnight, 2 men are in custody after a police chase that started in Carmel and ended just north of downtown Indianapolis. The chase started after 1 this morning when neighbors called police about an SUV driving slowly without its lights on near 106th and Westfield Boulevard. After about 25 minutes, the SUV crashed into a home and tore through an iron church fence near 29th and Annette Street. 3 men got out of the vehicle and took off running. 2 of the 3 men were arrested. Police continue to search for the 3rd.
And new this morning, 1 man dead, another fighting for his life after a shooting on the city's southeast side. Police say the shooting, this happened around 9:30 last night on Straw Hat Drive. That's near Emerson Avenue and Shelbyville Road. The homeowner told police 2 men broke into the home and the 3 started to fight over a gun. The 2 were then shot. We're told the homeowner is cooperating with police. That investigation into the incident continues this morning. The time now is 5:32, and the mother of a missing Indiana teen says that her daughter's stalker kidnapped the girl and then took her to Arkansas.
Indiana State Police issued an Amber Alert for 16-year-old Madison Edelman of Crown Point after her car was found abandoned near her home. In the alert, police suspected Madison was with this man, 22-year-old Alexander Curry Fishtorn. Madison's mother says the man had been stalking Madison for more than a year. The family also filed restraining orders against him in March. Police in Hot Springs, Arkansas confirmed Curry Fishtorn is in jail this morning.
He pulled up on her car. She thought he was going to hit her. He came to her driver's door, ripped her out of her car, threw her over his shoulder, and threw her in his car.
Authorities have not released any details about how or where they found Madison. Charges in the case have not been filed at this time.
The time now is 5:33. Not once, but twice that a Westside business owner is the target of thieves. This was the second time they broke in through the front door in the last month. On Wednesday, after our story aired, this man, who the owner believes is a different suspect, is seen looking inside of the cars outside of the vape shop. He says another camera inside the store shows the same man breaking the window and stealing a $500 vape. The crime is just the latest in a string of crime businesses are dealing with along West Washington Street here in Indianapolis.
An Indiana National Guard staff sergeant from Greenwood has died in a tactical vehicle accident at Fort Hood, Texas. Staff Sergeant Andrew Michael St. John was an embedded observer, controller, and trainer with the Army National Guard. St. John was an infantry with Company B, 1st Battalion, 151st Infantry Regiment. He had previously been deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan and received several awards and medals. His death remains under investigation this morning.
Indigo's Red Line will start boarding passengers in less than 2 weeks, but this morning the focus is making sure that volunteers know how the new rapid transit line will work just for you. Volunteers are going through a 2-hour training session to prepare for the riders who will be hopping on those buses beginning September the 1st. Indigo officials say the Red Line will be a main source of transportation, getting people from Broad Ripple on the north side all the way down to UIndy on the south side.
I'm really excited to be learning how and helping others learn how to use the transit system. Hopefully I can get them to work and home quicker. Hopefully to encourage other people that have cars to leave those at home and use that.
The Red Line will be open to the public on September the 1st, so be ready for that. And it will be free to ride the entire month. If you want to volunteer, click on this story in the RTV6 app. The time now is 5:35, and saving money and time while getting a college degree, well, as you can imagine, sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that is what is happening over at Martin University, where they're helping you get classroom to career ready faster. Through our Hiring Hoosiers initiative, connecting you to jobs and training, our Aaron Lish is live outside the university with this opportunity for students. Aaron, this sounds like a great deal. Is there a catch?
You know what? It's an absolutely great deal here, because for those adult learners who have jobs, who have a family, and have life experience, they can actually gain credit through this unique opportunity.
A few years I've been really burdened to finish my education.
Martin University student Timothy Taylor is using prior learning assessment, also known as PLA, to earn college credits faster.
Being able to fast track and get my degree quicker is perfect for my life.
Director of PLA, Dr. Charlesetta Smith-Staley, says you can earn up to 60 college credits from the learning you gain outside of the traditional classroom.
We have classroom time for instruction and lectures and guidance, but the students also have off-campus time where they're working and collecting documents and building their electronic portfolio.
With the ability to earn a bachelor's degree in half the time from your prior learning experience, it also means saving money, which has been the case for Taylor.
Over $24,000 if I go on this route, so that's a blessing.
PLA is enabling Taylor to finish undergrad faster so he can begin pursuing his master's degree.
And I thought it'd be just a no-brainer to start the program, and I'm so glad that I did.
Now, Meredith, I know you mentioned, is there any catches to this? The only thing is you have a few prerequisites. You have to take a few courses before PLA. You also have to be pretty good at writing because you have to create that portfolio to earn those college credits, as well as have a 2.0 or better, as well as going to pursue that undergrad degree. We're going to have a little bit more in the next half hour. Back to you in the studio.
All right, pretty awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Dining fanatics and foodies rejoice. Devour Indy Summerfest starts today. For 2 weeks, more than 200 restaurants will offer discounted 3-course meals throughout the Circle City. But Devour Indy is not only about getting a good bite to eat, it's also about supporting a good cause. Last year, donations raised $100,000 for Riley Children's Foundation. To check out the list of participating restaurants, you can head to the RTV6 app and click on this story. It looks delicious.
A Call 6 investigation into tornado safety precautions at schools is getting more attention at the State House. After our story about the lack of tornado shelters in schools last month, the Indiana Department of Homeland Security has received several phone calls from schools interested in building tornado shelters. And state lawmakers are now looking for ways to help those districts pay for those shelters.
Sure that if we were able to invest in making sure that programs were in place where we can help support local school corporations with local dollars to match to go along with these federal programs, that would be of extreme help.
The schools can apply for FEMA funding to build their own tornado-safe rooms like the one in Salem, but they have to come up with a 25% match. That can range from hundreds of thousands of dollars to more than $1 million to build one of those. The time now is 5:39. Time to check your forecast. No severe weather in the forecast this morning, but boy, Todd, it was loud last night.
Yeah, loud, and those severe gusts were anywhere from about 60 to even 70 miles per hour across central Indiana. A lot of lightning as well, and that heavy rain. The rain has moved out, only to be replaced right now by a little bit of patchy dense fog that is starting to settle into the area, especially as you work just west of Indianapolis and then even further southwest towards Terre Haute. So this will impact I-70. And these visibilities are going to fluctuate probably for a little while here this morning until the sun comes up, and then we'll start to burn that off. But sunrise now, not until just after 7 o'clock this morning. So with the exception of a little bit of patchy fog, the kids should be just fine as they head off to school here. Partly cloudy skies, 69 degrees. And as the kids come home from the bus stop, it's going to be warm. It's going to be muggy. We're talking about a high of 91 degrees. Heat index values will be even higher, and just a small chance of some pop-up storms later on this afternoon. We'll talk more about those coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Scary moments to open the IndyCar race at Pocono this morning. How drivers are reacting to the frightening crash, sending one driver to the hospital.
And we're taking a live right now at your morning commute. This is I-70 at the North Split. As you can see, traffic is building up at this hour as we begin a new work week. You're watching Good Morning Indiana, only on RTV6.
#1 trusted. It's got to be Tide.
Good morning, Indiana. Good morning to Fishers and Kokomo and Greenfield. We begin now your traffic look here in Indianapolis at I-65 south of 38th Street. As you can see, traffic is moving really well. Not far from here, we're told, just into the newsroom. At 46th and Penn, a car has hit a hydrant, and that has caused the street to flood in that area at 46th and Penn. So be careful of that. We have a crew on the way. We'll bring you those images as soon as they come into the RTV6 newsroom. Meredith?
Raphael, thank you. Congresswomen Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib will host a press conference today regarding travel restrictions to Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu denying them entry, then in reversal saying Representative Tlaib could visit with restrictions. Tlaib ultimately made the decision not to travel to Israel. Today's event will include people who have been directly impacted by similar travel restrictions.
Dick Cheney returning to politics today. The former vice president will appear alongside his daughter, Representative Liz Cheney, at a fundraiser in Jackson, Wyoming. The lunch event is in support of President Trump's 2020 re-election campaign and the Republican National Committee.
Tens of thousands of pro-democracy protesters taking to the streets in Hong Kong over the weekend. They braved the rain, marching in the heart of the city. It is the 11th straight week of pro-democracy rallies. Protesters are sending a clear message to the city leaders that they are not backing down. Groups of pro-police demonstrators also gathered.
Let's take overseas in the capital of Bangladesh, a scene of just simple utter devastation, a large fire roaring through a Dhaka homeless camp. Authorities say the fire leaving about 10,000 people homeless. The flames destroyed about 80% of that district. The mayor of the city's northern district hugged and tried to console the victims at a temporary shelter there. He says more help is on the way.
A big scare for a pair of window washers in Denver. They were just finishing up their job at an office building when an underground parking garage crumbled right out from under them. A giant hole swallowed up the men and their lift and sent them flying. Now, fortunately, they were strapped into harnesses and weren't seriously hurt. The collapse then busted a sprinkler system in the parking garage and flooded the garage with water. Firefighters are working to fix a propane leak and the structural damage to the garage. An unfortunate series of events, but the good news is everyone is okay. All right, Todd, something that I don't know if people are going to be okay with is the forecast. It's going to be hot and humid out there.
Yeah, you know, it's not been a bad month, really, by August standards. Only 2 times this month has our high temperature got up to 90 degrees, and one of those days was yesterday when we got up to 91. Otherwise, it was August the 8th that we got up to 90 as well. So it hasn't been a super hot month, but we are now about to string potentially 3 more 90-degree days together in a row starting this afternoon. And so when you tack on yesterday, potentially 4 days in a row of this 90-degree heat. So something to prepare for. The humidity is going to come way up as well. But the good news is this morning we are not dealing with any rainfall across the area. Storm Team 6 radar is nice and quiet. All the showers have moved off towards the east, and we're in the process of clearing the skies out across the area, which is good news as well. So we're clearing the skies out, which will give us some sunshine going forward, but we are starting to see a little bit of patchy fog develop across parts of the area. So as we work our way throughout the day today, the morning hours should be completely dry, but once we get into the afternoon hours, simply because it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, we're going to build in the chance of some isolated downpours that'll flare up here across parts of the area. Not expecting severe weather today, but some of these downpours obviously could be very heavy, and a little bit of lightning can be mixed in as well, which makes any storm dangerous. So just be weather aware this afternoon once you get off work or the kids come home from school and you send them out to play, that there could be some downpours that'll flare up pretty quickly, and then as soon as the sun starts to set, we will see these start to fade away very, very quickly. Here's the view outside right now. 69 degrees, that is the current temperature. The humidity is up there, 96%. The dew point's at 68. That dew point temperature actually comes up a little bit more throughout the day today, making it even more uncomfortable later on today than it is this morning. So if you are outside, you're going to be working up a sweat very, very quickly. 69 in Muncie right now, 66 in Greencastle. Highs today will be going into the upper 90s to the north, or upper 80s rather to the north, low 90s down to the south. Those heat index values, though, 95 to about 100 degrees this afternoon. And then this evening, any storm threat, and I mentioned, will diminish. Sunset is at 8:36. And then for the day tomorrow, we're back up to 90 degrees with the hazy sunshine. Tomorrow, probably a little better chance of some isolated storms flaring up in the afternoon or being a little bit more widespread. So we deal with the heat through Wednesday, and then a little bit of relief by the end of the week with highs that'll be in the low 80s.
All right, Todd, thank you. We want to take a look right now at I-70 at Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. Traffic moving along just fine in that area. We do want to alert you to a crash that occurred at 46th and Pennsylvania. A car hit a fire hydrant there. That has led to that intersection now being flooded. So if that is part of your commute within the next, I'd say hour or so, just to be safe, avoid the area, find an alternate route. Well, you can dial 911 for emergencies, and now we are even closer to having an easier number to remember for suicide prevention.
So the FCC chairman says that he'll start the process to make 988 the 3-digit number for a mental health crisis, a move that could save many more lives.
It could be that life-splitting second that if you just have someone pick up on the other end to be a welcoming voice. I think that's a good opportunity.
So right now, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, it uses a 10-digit number. Crisis centers across the country answered more than 2 million calls made to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline just last year. The CDC says suicide rates have been going up across the country over the past 2 decades. And the newest numbers show that 47,000 Americans died by suicide in 2017. Until this 3-digit number is ready, you can call 800-273-TALK any time of day.
Long overdue there. That'll help a lot of people. Now to IndyCar, a crazy scene unfolding within the first few moments of the race out at Pocono. Lap number 1 of 200 and racing 3 wide. Takuma Sato comes down the track on Alexander Rossi and Ryan Hunter-Reay. That leads to rookie Felix Rosenqvist up on the fence. Sato lands upside down on Hunter-Reay's car. Rosenqvist was taken to the hospital to be checked out. Thankfully, everyone is okay. The racetrack has been the scene of a number of serious crashes. You might recall driver Justin Wilson died after being hit by debris in 2015, and just last year Robert Wickens was paralyzed after a crash. Wickens took to Twitter after the crash, saying in part, "How many times do we have to go through the same situation before we can all accept that an Indy car should not race at Pocono? It's just a toxic relationship and maybe it's time to consider a divorce," end quote. It's important to note IndyCar does not have a contract with Pocono for the 2020 season.
So to come on Good Morning Indiana, a 1930s Porsche still up for sale after a major auction. Yeah, mistake coming up. The multi-million-dollar confusion costing bidders that vehicle.
And Pacers guard Victor Oladipo was back in the Hoosier State this weekend. Download the RTV6 app right now to read more about his plans for a comeback. We'll be right back.
Drive at Honda of Fishers.
A 1939 Porsche Type 64 failing to sell at auction, all after some bidding confusion.
I thought I saw your vehicle out in the parking lot. That wasn't your... Okay, well, in videos posted online, the auctioneer called out the opening bid of $13 million, but the large screen behind showing the current bid price showed $30 million.
Common little mix-up there.
That's right. The problem then continued with a $14 million, which was displayed as $40 million. And this is not getting any better. The $50 million bid as $50 million. The board read $70 million before the auctioneer realized the trouble and asked for it to be corrected. The bid stopped coming and the sale was hammered to a close at $17 million, but the car remained unsold. Apparently, it did not meet an undisclosed minimum bid, which means Todd Clausen can still buy it anytime this week. I mean,
my birthday's in October, so
keep the windows up, put the AC on. It's going to be hot and humid in Indianapolis. Todd Clausen, you will be cruising in style.
I doubt any convertibles will be out there with the top down today with the heat and the humidity that we'll be dealing with. You'll want the air condition on. Temperatures in the 60s here this morning. The good news is the rain has moved out. It's much more calm here this morning. So while your commute will be warm, it'll be a little muggy. It should be dry all across the area. However, we are expecting some additional storms to flare up later on this afternoon. They should be very, very spotty, but the big weather story today is going to be the heat and the humidity. The humidity will actually climb as the day goes on, so it becomes more and more uncomfortable with a high temperature today, topping off at 91 degrees.
Todd, thank you. Multiple homes catch fire after intense lightning moves through the area. Coming up at 6 o'clock, the damage left behind from Sunday's severe thunderstorms.
Now we're taking a live look outside. What a beautiful city that we live in. Here's a live look across the Circle City as we're looking to the southeast. As you prepare for your day of work and school, there's plenty more news and weather coming up, as well as traffic right here on Good Morning Indiana to start your Monday morning. We'll be right back.